Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your weekly source for all things Final Fantasy TCG.
Dude, I'm not lying, man. Just going through just all of these cards for these worst top 10, I could probably make like a worst top 20.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I did struggle to find a few. There were a few that were like, they're not great, but like, they're not terrible.
Dude, that's all I'm saying. But you know what is great, Adam? Us being back for the next episode of the RVA Returners Podcast. Good morning. I got my coffee. I'm ready to do this. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Yeah.
I was tired, man. I had a long day yesterday, and we'll get to that because we had a tournament yesterday. Seems like there was just a lot going on for the weekend. And we'll go ahead and cover all that. We'll just dive right in like we always do. Adam, buckle up. You know what's coming. It's the news. All right, headlines today. We had an event here locally, the Supernova Cup. What did you, Adam? You and Mike actually did the stream for this. Or y'all? I mean, Returners provided the stream. You and Mike did commentary. I actually got to play in the event. How are things on your end?
It was good. Other than the fact that I accidentally streamed to the Turks channel for like the first 5 minutes, because people like messaged me and they're like, "You're not live, dude." And I was like, "Oh, I'm definitely live," because I could see it on my monitor. And I'm
here doing it.
Yeah, and then I realized I forgot to change the stream key at the beginning. That was the one thing I forgot to do. So the first part of the first match, which would be your match, is gonna either not make it into the video or maybe Curtis will send it to me and I can edit it in, but it might not be in the video.
No, that's okay. You didn't miss much. I did not have a great day of cards. I actually got to play today, like I said. It was neat. It was a 2-deck format. We had 16 people, which was really cool because they actually had prizes for top 16, so everybody got something.
Yep. I mean, even I got something for streaming, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. The prize support was insane. Michael and Muhammad really put a lot of work into this thing and just really made it a special event. I don't think anybody walked out of there having a bad time. And the shop it was at, Huzzah Hobbies, was a really, really awesome facility, man. They had a snack bar that served beer, so I was at home. Yep. And just a large open space. And we were able to actually make a good streaming set. Even though they didn't have any, offices or a room that we could go in to do stuff, we were still able to make a stream removed enough away from the event that, we could have the match on stream and not hear the commentary. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I was far enough away, and once the room filled up, it was pretty hard to hear. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a really good time. Like I said, I got to play. I went 2-2. We had 4 rounds of Swiss with a top 4 cut. And we did the 2-deck format, like I said, which was really, some good and bad, right? I think it was neat to kind of change the pace of things. What I didn't like about it was sometimes you just got kind of backed into maybe a bad match. And maybe that was just poor matchups or maybe just poor deck choice on my end, but I don't think the decks I chose were bad. I went with the Earth Water Stand By Me list that's been really popular here that me and Curtis have kind of been playing since the beginning of Opus 7, or since the official release of Opus 7. And then I played your Lightning Fire Gilgamesh deck, which was a lot of fun too.
Yep.
But when I say I got kind of back into a bad matchup, like if I won with the Earth Water deck and then I lost with the Gilgamesh deck, I could potentially be forced into another bad matchup with that deck, and vice versa.
Yep.
So I guess it and we'll talk more about that when we get into what the whole thing about Worlds, because they have to use 3 decks, and I can see how that can be just very, very taxing on just the way you have to build decks and approach matchups. But overall, I had a good day. I was extremely rusty, and you can see that from my first match on stream. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm moving my deck and my discard pile around to make it easier for my opponent, but at the same time, I'm making it harder for me because I'm putting my discards on top of my deck. I'm like, what the? I literally looked at my opponent. I said, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, you're not the only person that did stuff like that too. There are a few people that obviously got kind of fatigued, I think. But I know, I mean, we asked Curtis this too. It was did it feel more mind taxing, I guess, than a regular tournament?
Yeah, I thought it did, because you had to you played a deck, because whether you won or lost, I'm one of those people that when I play a match, whether I win or lose, I like to think about the match in my head, really go over the plays, go over the turns, and see if maybe I could have done something better, or maybe I made the right move, or maybe I like to kind of speculate if my opponent had this, how would that have changed? But when you go to another deck, you just kind of have to switch gears immediately. Yep. And you're playing a brand new 50 cards that you have to really think about, all right, well, I just got done doing this, but now I have to focus on this, and this. You know what I mean? It's tough because you do just have to start thinking about something else almost immediately. And it wasn't my favorite, but I'll definitely play it again. That format.
Yeah, no, it looked like a lot of fun. I would have played if I could play and stream at the same time, but that's just not possible. And I still want to continue to stream as much as we can. So just alternating back and forth seems to work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's why I think I was partially rusty too, because this was the first Opus 7 event outside of our weeklies that I've gotten to play in, and it definitely showed. And not taking anything away from anybody that was there, because we had a lot of people travel to this thing. Mm-hmm. We had some guys from Pittsburgh come. We had a new face from North Carolina show up. Also a fan of the podcast. Shout outs to you, Joe. You're a good egg. He was playing actually my favorite deck of the event. It was this crazy Miracles Mill type deck. It was really neat. Definitely needs some fine tuning, but it was a really, really neat deck. So shout outs to him for playing that. We had Fredericksburg in the building. We had obviously Richmond was there. So, a lot of people came from this, and this was the kind of the culmination of these 3 weeks worth of events that we had. So, it's bittersweet because, I love the fact that we've had all these events and people have been, kind of had all eyes on us. But I'm also glad to kind of take a break here for a little bit, and just play some games, play some standard, and just practice and learn some things, and really just kind of explore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, streaming 3 weeks in a row is also kind of exhausting.
Oh, it's taxing for sure.
But I mean, it's not that I didn't have fun. I had fun at every event. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a great time, and I can't wait to do the next event, which I think the next one I know we've got on the books is the December Soldier Showdown event, which we'll talk about more as that gets closer.
Well, we'll be in attendance at the title tournament.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We have that on the 1st. That's in 2 weeks. Man, it just doesn't stop, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But thankfully, we don't have to do anything for that. We just get to show up and play.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So that'll be really exciting. So that wasn't the only event. Looks like we had another event here. A Japanese tournament that we've seen here on Bond's Final Fantasy Corner. It looks like he's back.
Yeah, so he did a Q&A with us this week.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Shout outs to him, and I'm glad. It looks like because I know he went on a little hiatus there, right after Opus 5.
Yeah, he went on a hiatus for a while, and it looks like he's back now. So, which is good. I like when he posts things. It lets us get a good idea of what Japan is doing.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and he posted. It looks like the top 4 deck lists, and I hope we have these in order. It looks like it was in first place. It was Windwater. I have the list pulled up here. It's very different than what we would be accustomed to here.
Yep.
Because I see he's running Light Yuna, starter Garnet, the 6-drop Titus. 3 Barts, the 3-drop Barts, which is fine. I think that card, that card was an older.
Yeah, I don't know if you look at his summons either. I mean, he's got 3 Fanfrits. That's standard. Then he's got 2 Opus 5 Leviathans.
Ooh, man, saucy.
One Opus 6 Leviathan, 1 Bismarck, 1 Ultima, 1 starter Valifor, and 1 Poo-Poo.
Man, talk about the one of fun of package. I mean, really, outside of your Fanfrits, does anything else really matter? Because you're probably sitting on a full grip every time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, he's spreading this around to make use of starter Garnet. I think more.
Yep, I agree, and obviously he's taking advantage of the Oracle 2-drop. I'm a huge fan of that backup.
Yeah, and then no Fasolia in this list at all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
he's one. It looks like he's got 1 of the 3-drop Zidane. 1 Lena. Very, very, very interesting list here. I would have liked to have seen, just the tournament, what he played, how he played it. Because he's got Layla Vikings and Famfrit, so he's off to a good start already, right?
Yeah.
So that's a neat list. Second place was a Mono Earth list. Vince, listen up. This is for you. This looks like a lot of what we saw. I know you said it when we were looking at it. Very much like an Opus 5 Mono Earth list.
Yeah, at the beginning of Opus 5, Mono Earth was something a lot of people were playing, and it was pretty heavy dark, and you'd see Cam and Chaos just as a tutor for Zodiark, and then they would run the Opus 5 Gobranth, which is still kind of core here. No Camlinot, though. Still running Zodiark, Gabranth, Chaos, Shadow Lord.
And 3 Galdus.
Yeah,
3 of them. Count them up.
Yep, 3 Galdus. You got an Epitaph to search them. And then the other new cards are Noctis, Asmodai, Yojimbo, I think.
No, and he's got the Earth Searcher.
Yeah,
the Force
Kolka. Yep.
Kolka. Yeah, that's really all I see. Well, he's got Yojimbo, Asmodai. Yeah, you named them all. Really neat list. I mean, obviously he's using Ralbon as removal because he's got Ingus and Inacross to keep him alive. You're running 3 backup destruction Hecaton chairs, 3 miners, 2 Totos, 2 this is a very top heavy backup list. Obviously no Cecils there, which I think is oofy, but But they do things very, very differently over there, and lists like this always intrigue me because I feel like when you look at them, they look weird, but when you go and try to play them, you're like, wow, this thing runs super smooth.
Yep.
And then third place, it looks like it was another Wind Water list. This one, a little bit more, I guess what am I trying to say? A little bit more familiar, like stuff we would normally see.
Yeah, kinda, but look, they must love Opus 5 Leviathan over there.
No, big time. Because there's 3.
3 in this list. There's 3 Moogles. There's 3 Poo-Poos.
And a couple things too. One, I see he's got Pain Riku. I do see 1 card turned around backwards. Do they allow proxies at this tournament?
Maybe.
And I'm seeing 1 Layla.
Yeah, I mean that's a weird card to proxy because Riku's just a rare.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, his whole deck looks foil from what I'm looking at, kind of on this picture. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want to play a non-foil Riku. I don't know.
I respect that. But this is another list that's running Oracle, Gladiator, obviously to recycle the Vikings. It's running the Waka backup that buffs a 12 character.
10 character. Yeah,
10 character. Yeah,
he's got.
I just have Ondor on the brain.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got 3 10 forward. All the Gull Wings obviously in Yuna. So the 2 Gull Wings in Yuna, and it's the free Pain, the Opus 6 Riku, and then the new legendary Yuna. That's what he's running.
She's running 3 of those. That seems a little. 3 seems a little excessive to me, but what do I know?
Yeah, it's an interesting deck.
Yeah, I think so too. And then the last one. Oh, hey, look at that! Something. Talk about a familiar face. I do love the way the deck's spread out with Gesper and Thaumaturge just kind of off to the side.
Yep. Yeah, Turbo Ice. So.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because the list is pretty standard: 3 Renoas, 3 Sid Allstains, 3 Genesis. What's crazy is if you take Gesper Thaumaturge out of the equation and you look at the rest of the list, the list doesn't look bad, but it just shows you the impact that those 6 cards have on the it's literally taking one of the belts off of an engine in your car. It just doesn't work at that point.
I mean, it just you can't abuse the stack anymore like you could with Gesper. Your card advantage is different. And then losing Thaumaturge kind of just really hurts your early game too.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the deck is Mono Ice obviously isn't dead, but that Turbo variant is definitely not going to be playable anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so those are the 2 events. And I know another big thing. Speaking of events, we did get a lot of details this week about Worlds. And but before we dive into that, I know we did get. I don't know if we covered it on last week's podcast about the Laswell promo at the Brave Exodus event.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, so apparently there's a Brave Exodus Fan Fest event is happening next weekend, or is that's happening in the next? No, it's not next weekend.
I want to say it's in 2 weeks.
It's December. Yeah, it's December 8th and 9th. So 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yep. That's
and one of the things they have is, if you show up, you get, there's kind of a cross promotion there with the trading card game. They have a alternate art Laswell promo that's only available at the Fan Fest. And then they have a Brave Exodus box that looks like it has Rain, Laswell, and I can't remember the girl's name. I feel terrible.
Yeah, they both things look really sweet. I'm a little sad that the promo is only there and not at LGS's, but
yeah, I
mean, I guess that's incentive to go. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an awesome promo, and hopefully I can get all you Cali guys, if you're listening to this, talk to your boy. I really want that promo and that box. So if you can get one, if you can get an extra one, ship it my way. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I just want the card. I mean, the deck box is sweet, but I just want the card.
No, I want the card more than I want the box for sure. But I'll Porque no los dos. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
But we got that, and then we also have we got a lot of information revealed about Worlds. You can actually check this out on the on like the official pardon me, on the official trading card game webpage. It has all of the players that are invited. So 33 players. Really diverse crowd here. A lot of household names from across the globe. So I think it's going to be a solid event.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I mean it's Worlds, right? Like all these players are top notch. They had to earn their spot to get there. So it should be a pretty sweet event.
I agree. And and I know the event's going to be streamed. I know we're going to try to do a little viewing get together and hang out with some friends, jam some cards, and watch Worlds. And they also revealed the prize breakdown. What am I trying to say here? Like, I think like, don't get me wrong. I think these prizes are great. I mean, we're talking gaming laptops, a Switch, tablets, an Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I'll say it. I guess it's weird that none of it's Final Fantasy themed at all.
Yeah, that's probably the nicest way to say it. Like, I love the prizes. I absolutely love them, but I could get all of this stuff out of the Best Buy holiday catalog.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not like the value of them is obviously great.
Oh, it's great value. And they're great prizes.
There is a little bit of a drop-off, but I mean, that's, it's got to be a drop-off somewhere. You can't just give everybody the same thing.
Yeah, you definitely drop off. Like, man, it's going to be real rough if you're on the bubble for top 16, and then it's like, because you go from Windows tablet to gaming mouse.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I wish it would have been a little bit more Final Fantasy themed. Like, even if the laptops or whatever had like Final Fantasy stuff on it. I don't know.
Yeah, like a skin or some stickers, or like the gaming mouse. If there was like a Final Fantasy 14 gaming mouse, that'd be really dope. Like if there was like a Switch that maybe you got like a download for a World of Final Fantasy Maxima on the, if you got that with the Switch, something like that. I think the prizes are great. There's just nothing. There's nothing that you just can't walk into the store and buy. Like I wouldn't need to go to London to get this. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly.
And but overall, I think but to me, I'm not concerned about the prizes. I'm concerned about the I want to see the play. I want to see it's because it's a 3-deck format, which we'll kind of dive in here a little bit. We've been talking about this. 2 decks was hard to play this weekend. I can't even imagine what these guys are having to do to try to figure out 3 decks with no overlap in a short amount of time as well. Because it's next. Worlds is next week.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean they've been prepping for a little while. The only thing that they have to still worry about Turbo, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely still have to worry about Turbo, which I feel like still having to worry about Turbo might actually make deck construction a little. Well, I don't want to say it makes it a little bit easier, but it gives you a real easy fallback to go to, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that's like a lead-in, right? To like we were gonna like kind of talk about what we would play if we were going.
Oh, absolutely.
Not that we're going, we didn't make it there, but like, it's just cool to like think about like if we were going, like what would we bring.
Yeah, because it's a good question. I think it's a good question that you can ask anybody who plays the game competitively, because it could be something that pops up at some point where it's like, all right, well, here you go, here's your shine. By the way, you've got to pick 3 decks to win this thing. What do you do? Well, Adam, I'll open it up to you, man. If you were invited to Worlds, you got your plane ticket, you got your invite, you're on the plane, you got your 3 decks sleeved up. What are you playing?
Well, I mean, the easy one is Turbo, right? I think if I'm at the World stage and I have to play 3 decks, I think it just and Gasper and Thaumaturge are still not banned. I think I'm bringing Turbo.
No, absolutely.
It's just, I mean, it's definitely a harder deck to master. It's harder than people give it credit for, but it's a very impressive deck. Sometimes it just wins, right? And if you're playing a 3-deck format, I'll take a deck that sometimes just wins, right?
Yep, it shores up some of those matchups that you don't take into account. Because one of the things I was talking about, and I know we talked about it at dinner last night, when you have these decks and you have to think about all your matchups, but now you also have to think about the matchups you won't see because of the way the deck rotation is, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like it's a pretty predetermined deck. Like what it is. Yep. I expect almost everyone to have it. So, I mean, I would expect probably at least 60% of the field to have that as one of their 3 decks. And that might be low. I might be lowballing it. But I think it's going to be a pretty high percentage. My second deck, and I think this is probably the best deck going after, like once Gesper and Thaumaturge bans are gone, I think this is going to be the best deck. And I don't think it's like turbo best deck, right? Like I think it's way more fair. But I just think that it's better than other things right now, and that's Mono Water, Fasoya.
Yep, absolutely.
Like if our events are any indication of anything, it's a good deck, right? Because it won 2 out of the last 3 events.
It just has all the answers, right? It just has really big beefy forwards. They all do stuff. Great summons. It has card draw. It just has all that you need.
It's just never bad at any point in the game, right? You can play Layla Viking early and pressure. You can play a backup and then play a Fasoya turn 2, and now you're set up. You got like tons of ways to refill the board with Layla Viking and Lena. You got bombs like Cloud of Darkness. And then like Fasoya just keeps the board under control, and you just have tons of ways to abuse Fanfrit, like Ephemeral Summoner and.
Right, and that's what makes Fasoya so dangerous in that deck is the fact that you take the randomness out of what's coming off the top. You Ephemeral, you put a Fanfrit on top, or a Choo-Choo Lane, or a Leviathan, and you're just like, all right, that's dead. Put that back in your hand, or also that's dead. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then, if you would have asked me last week, I probably would have picked something like Scions or something. But now the more that I'm playing my new deck, I think I'd probably bring Lightning Fire. I think it's a deck that not a lot of people are going to be prepared for. And there's a lot of interesting and tricky lines and a lot of math involved in the deck.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't win a lot, like every matchup. There's definitely some decks that give it a hard time. But it's explosive. Like,
very.
Like you saw it yesterday. I think you won on like turn 4 or something like that. Like it's pretty nutty when it goes off.
You see the lines, you're like, oh my god, I can do this. I'm about to swing for 4 points of damage this turn.
Yeah, I mean, so that would probably be my third deck. That's kind of like my pet deck right now. That I've been messing with for the last couple weeks. And I think it's pretty good.
Absolutely, and I think all 3 of those are solid. I think Turbo is just Turbo because at its worst, it's going to go 50-50 with something, and I like having a deck where all the guesswork is gone. Like I can just play this. It's going to do what it's going to do. Like that's a deck that really doesn't deviate from matchup to matchup, right? Which is, why I'm glad it's gone, and why I think it is a smart pick for Worlds. And again, Mono Water, I think pound for pound is probably the best fair deck in the game.
Yep.
And I think once Turbo's gone, it will be the best deck in the game until like the meta kind of shifts around it, if that makes sense. And then the fire lightning deck is just super explosive.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess the 3 I would take, very similar actually. I know just because I think it gives me the best chance to win. I would 100% take Turbo with me, just because it's also a deck that too, like if you've played the deck and you have reps on the deck, it does make it a little bit easier for you to pilot. I would also take the Earth Water Stand By Me deck, which is I think that deck just has in the vein of Mono Water Fasoya. It just has a lot of lines, and then having the ability to have Noctis in there to kind of do more gives it a lot of life. And the third deck, I would probably look at like Mono Wind. It's tough. Like I'm on the fence on this one. I would either go Mono Wind or Mono Lightning.
Yeah,
I keep giving the nod to Mono Wind. But I do think Mono Lightning is a deck that really thrives in a multi-deck format. I really, truly do.
Yeah, I actually, I don't know. I'm not sure how good Mono Lightning would be to bring, but I don't think it's bad. Like, the deck's still pretty decent. My worry with Mono Wind is that Turbo still exists in this meta, right, that they're playing in. And that is, like, really bad for that deck. So if you bring that, you're kind of just hoping that when you put that on the table, they don't put Turbo on the table. And, I mean, your odds aren't terrible, right? There's a 33% chance that happens.
Right, and also in the same vein, that's the same thing with like Mono Lightning, because Mono Lightning just folds up to Fasoya decks.
Right, because everything's kind of small.
Exactly. And you would play that hoping to avoid the Fasoya decks. Like this is where it gets tricky having to pick those 3 decks too.
Right.
because you have to account for the bad matchups, but also maybe you don't run into those bad matchups. Because like I feel like Mono Wind has good matchups outside of Turbo.
Oh, I agree. I think it's going to be great. I think that it's going to be poised pretty well once Turbo's out of the meta, because Mono Wind can even get greedier too. Like I think even the list you're seeing now, I think it could probably get even greedier than that, because it doesn't have to worry about the Turbo at all.
Exactly. I agree with that 100%.
And I think the way you're going to have to beat Water is to probably get kind of greedy.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. So yeah, those are 3 I would take. Like I said, I'm leaning more towards Mono Wind, but you know me, you know I love to call the last second audible. I could easily see myself switching that 3rd deck to Mono Lightning.
Yeah, I think Scions is also a super safe pick. I know neither one of us picked that, but I think it's pretty safe.
Oh yeah, like if I was gonna go, if I was gonna go like the 3 safest picks, like just out of the blue, I would go Turbo, Mono, Water, and Scions, like straight up, because I think those 3 are just safe, kind of cookie cutter in a sense, but like the deck still wins,
right?
You know. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what people bring, because I do think there will be some really neat decks, but I also think there will be a lot of super safe decks as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the world stage. I feel like you want to take. You can have the experimental decks, but I also think you take the comfort picks. Like it's Sunday dinner. You don't start making wacky ass white people meatloaf. You you bring the hits. You bring the mac and cheese. You bring the collard greens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would probably be playing it really safe if it was me.
Right. I would too. Karen, get your potato salad out of here. Who the hell puts raisins in that? Get that out of here. But no, I think it's really neat. And now, as far as we're gonna do quick hits here. Quick hits. Who and this is before the international version, before they got nerfed. Which North American player do you see going the deepest?
Oh man, can I pick 2?
I'll let you pick 2.
Okimoto and Dank would probably be my 2.
That's fair. And I can agree with that. They're not my picks. Well, one of them is. And that the other one's the 3rd. It's not a knock on anybody. But I think they bring a lot of deck building prowess and a lot of just really like strong leadership to the team to really because they can talk about things, they can see lines, they can what am I trying to say? They can get more people involved in like the testing process, and they know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I gotta go with my my homer pick, man. I'm going the Ranch Master. I think Hunter is one of those players that you can't count him out until he's out.
Yeah, Hunter's strong. Like I said, everybody there is strong.
I agree. I could see, like I said, even like maybe the players that maybe quote unquote lesser known, like your JTs and your Chris Neals. I think they're all super strong players. Like everybody, like if you look at this list of like the world's players, it's all just a bunch of studs. Like they're all just really solid, strong players, and no one's gonna fold up to anybody.
Right.
So like we just want to make sure North America like gets I think this is the year they shine. Second year, but I think all joking aside, I think North America has the tools and the talent this year to go deep.
Yep.
But it's gonna be a fun event. That's next week. Like I said, I know we're gonna be watching that and cheering the team on and we'll see who wins the prizes. I'm excited, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it too, see what people will bring.
Absolutely. But now we're gonna switch gears a little bit. That's pretty much all of the news that we have. So we're gonna switch gears. Last week we did our top 10 best S abilities, and boy, do we have just a barn burner this week. We said we were going to do the worst, what we think are the worst 10. I'm pretty sure our lists are different.
Oh, they're probably going to be extremely different this time.
There are some turds. Boy, there are some turds.
It was hard for me to order them. And like, I even feel like the more I look at it, I might reorder it, but I'm going to go with what I have.
Yeah, I'm doing the same because like as I look at it, I'm like, man, that might be worse than that. But we're gonna just dive right in, my dude. I'll lead off this time. My number 10 is Undyne Cry from Styx.
Okay.
It's an Opus 7 win. It's pretty much until the end of the turn, all forwards opponent controls loses 5,000 power. You can only use this ability if you've received 5 points of damage or more, and it costs like an S2 and tap. That is awful.
Yep.
absolutely awful. Like I think Styx is an okay card, but like that S is just stupid. It's just bad. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible S ability.
Yeah, it's not great, right? I mean, I think even when we reviewed that, we knew like it was really situational and expensive.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I read that one because we're probably going to have to read all of these just because they're so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll
probably. What's your number? Yep.
So my number 10 is Verbolten Eidolon, and that's old K-Tuna's S ability.
Oof.
So it's S, 2 fire, tap, put 5 backups into the break zone. Cheap cost, right?
Oh man, talk about value.
And break all the forage your opponent controls. I remember when we first saw this card, and we were like, oh, maybe that's good. Fire got a board wipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having to break 5 backups as a part of a cost, that's I feel
like you always lose out on that.
Yeah, and then obviously you're paying 3 CP, but 4 technically if you count the copy of her. But like, I mean, yeah, that's rough. I don't think that's worth it for a board wipe. Just run like Zodiark or something.
Exactly.
Just take the damage.
It's like that's like the equivalent of buying a 747 just to get the free peanuts. There's a lot more cost-effective ways to get it.
Yeah, so that was my number 10.
Yeah. Oof, that's just real bad. All right, my number 9, we got a good one here. It's Bloodfest. And that's on the Opus 1 rare Yuffie. It's S and tap. Choose up to 3 forwards. Divide a blistering 6,000 damage among them as you like.
Yeah, I actually almost put this on my list. But then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, at least it kills, like, Layla Viking, right? For
sure.
Yuffie. Now, I'm not saying that's great, but that was my reasoning for not being in the bottom 10. I don't think it's good. And also, I think a lot of issues with the S's we're going to probably name is that not only do these S's aren't great, you have to play these cards that they're printed on, which also aren't great.
Exactly. That has a huge influence on how awful these cards are.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Hammer Blow, so it's a Barret S.
Oof.
It's S and 2 Earth. Choose a forward, deal it 4K. Barret gains 4,000 power till end of turn. Like, so I would almost rather it say, like, maybe if he dealt 4K and gained first strike or something.
Mm-hmm.
That would make more sense to me.
Sure.
But, like, I don't know. Spending 4 CP to deal 4K, which isn't going to kill anything, and then you're going to give yourself plus 4,000 power, doesn't seem great to me.
No, because it isn't. It definitely isn't. Yeah, this is getting cringier by the pick. So we're gonna move right on to number 8. My number 8 is Legion of One. It's on the Lightning promo, like the one that's just a promo. Because guess what? This S ability is the only text that she has. She's a 5 CP 9K vanilla ass card, and it's just for S and 1. Activate Lightning. She gains first strike until the end of the turn. Whoop-de shit. This card does nothing.
Yeah.
It's awful.
You're paying for basically another forward to give her first strike.
Exactly. Seems real loose, Jim.
Yeah. My number 8 is Ultimate Jack Shot. So it's only this like low, because I think this S ability sucks.
Oh, it's awful.
Because it actually like just straight up breaks something. That's my only reason why it's like this low. But the main reason why I think it sucks is it just like goes against what the card does, right? So Jack gets buffed for all the forwards your opponent controls, and then his S breaks a forward.
Yeah, you're literally making him worse to get something off the board.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, and it costs basically 5. A copy of himself, a fire, and 2 colorless, and you have to tap him. So he's a 5 CP that you have to tap, and then pay basically 5 for to break something.
Yeah, that one's actually on my list a little bit higher. Absolutely awful. All right, we are moving now to number 7. Here's a good one. Inferno. This is on the 6 CP Rubicante. It's just an S. It says choose a forward, deal it 4,000 damage. Ooh, now we're cooking with gas. And Rubicante gets plus 2,000 power till the end of the turn. Bleh.
Maybe I should have put that over the Barret one, actually.
Yeah, this one is just absolute bleh on an absolute bleh card.
Yeah, it's not great, right?
Yeah, it just like there's like nothing to say about that. Like it's just like just reading it is bad enough.
I guess it's cheaper than Barret, right? At least it just costs an S.
Yeah, sure.
But it's also like Rubicante costs 6.
Exactly, and it just seems just cringe it up. Go ahead with your number 7.
So mine is Dragoon's Pride. It's a Kane S.
Ooh, yeah, that one's terrible too.
So first off, again, there's other reasonings like why. So Kane costs this card costs 6, right? Which is pretty expensive in this game. Then his S is S and 2 lightning, so that's kind of like 4 CP, and he has to tap himself. So you're tapping your guy you just paid 6 for. Choose a forward, break it. Okay, that sounds great, right? Kane does not activate during your next active phase.
It's like, sweet.
So like,
I broke something and I don't get to use it again.
Yeah, like Adia, right? Adia costs 6. Her power level is a little bit lower than Kane's. Her S costs a little bit more, but she doesn't have to tap herself. And she's still ready. She's still ready to block. And like, I don't know. There's just more reasons to play Adia. And like this card, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it goes back to that 747 for the free peanuts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a bad ability, and the fact that you just kind of take Kane out of commission for that is just bleh.
Yep.
All right, so my number 6. This is, I think, the only S ability that shares a name with another one. I don't know if that narrows it down for you. I'm talking about Escape.
Yeah, that's on my list too.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the Riku one.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
I'm talking about the one on the shitty Edward backup. He's a 3 CP backup that, ice 1 and tap. Your opponent discards a card from their hand that you can only use on your turn. So it's like a worse Gesper or like a worse any other card that makes you discard. Then the fact for an S, you can protect it. Like that's like if you're using that card, I'm questioning what you're doing. Even like in a casual setting, I'm like, why would this card ever be in the backup line when the other Edward is just so much better?
Yeah, that's on my list too. It's a little bit higher up.
Yeah, it's just oof. It just because I think Riku's Escape is actually okay.
Yes,
but this one just oof.
Yeah, my next one is No Mercy. So it's a Cypher S. So it's S and 3 lightning. Break all forwards cost 2 or less. My issue with this is like it's not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but like Shadow Lord is a card.
Yep.
Shadow Lord costs less than his S ability.
And Shadow Lord's probably going to kill something else on top of those 2 drops.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like I don't really think you'd want to run like extra ciphers to be able to do this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This one's actually on my list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher. Yeah, these are just making me like shiver just talking about them. They're bad. All right, now we're getting into the top 5 worst. The top 5 worst. My number 5 is actually Ultimate Jet Shot for every reason that you said before. I don't like a card. Here's the thing. I don't like a lot of these S abilities are bad. I don't like an S ability that's legit counterproductive to the card that it's printed on.
Yeah.
And that is 100% what this is. And it's just expensive, and you make the forward that you're playing, an already not great forward, you're making him worse for using it.
Yep.
So, oof. Yeah. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Escape. For pretty much all the reasons that you said. It's like, why do I want to protect this card at all? Like, you just spent 3 CP to Hecaton Chair my Edward, or you spent 8 CP to Dark Sephiroth my Edward. Why am I going to spend an extra copy of Edward to protect my Edward?
Exactly. Exactly. Just to get the last word in. That's why.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Awful. So speaking of awful, we're moving on to number 4. We got my man Quincy coming in hot with the snacks.
This is on my list too.
This one is Eat.
Yeah.
So Quincy with the snacks. So it's a Quinna's special. Just for an S, choose a forward opponent controls, which has been dealt damage this turn. Super specific already. And now this is where it jumps, just really goes off the damn rails. If that forward has a special ability or an action ability, break it.
Yeah, so this is on my list too.
It's on the body of a 4 CP 5K.
Yeah, it does get plus 1K for each card in your hand. But yeah,
sure.
Again, that's like still, not great. They were trying to keep this card flavorful, and I get it.
Ha, flavorful. That's funny.
Well, you know what I mean.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like she eats things and steals their abilities, but she's not stealing their ability, right? Like she just eats it and that's it.
Yeah. Quincy just eating up all the snacks.
Yeah. So my number 4 is slots.
Oof.
So here's a couple things. Okay, so first off, it's a 3CP 5K forward, which is already not good. Its entry ability sucks. So I mean, the card's already kind of bad. I played this in title for a little while. It was okay. For S and 1 lightning and tap, remove the top card of your deck from the game. If it's a forward, deal 7K to all active forwards opponent controls. How does this card exist and Strongest Sword exist in the same set? Like, how is that possible?
I'm all shoulders at this point. All right.
Yeah, like this costs more than Strongest Sword. There are less copies of Kate Sith than Gilgamesh. This card doesn't have Brave. It's not on curve. Gilgamesh is Brave on curve. And then its damage is also situational to active forwards.
Yeah, there is clearly no reason to play that, like, at all.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's awful. It is absolutely awful. Oh man! So now we're really getting like deep cuts territory here. My number 3 is one you see as my number 3 because it is you got to be playing that cipher, which is 1000% the worst cipher of the bunch.
Yep.
Like it's not even. It's a no contest. All of the other versions of cipher are playable. This one is not, and his S ability is useless. Because chances are, if you're worried about 2-drops, you're just playing Shadow Lord instead, who just deals with it so much better.
Yeah, he's cheaper, and he's a better forward. He's cheaper than the S, and he's a better forward.
Exactly, and that blows my mind. Like, the card's just bad, S is just bad. I'm gonna move on to your number 3.
My number 3 is kind of related to my number 4. So my number 3 is Inspire.
Yes.
So, I played this in my title deck because I was playing 5 Kate Sith at the time, and it wasn't terrible. But in Standard, which is what we're talking about, the 1CP Kate Sith's okay, right? But I don't need to search it.
No.
And what Reeve does is S-tap, search for 1 card named Kate Sith, add it to your hand. So, like, he's a 2CP backup that literally does nothing other than that. Yeah. I mean, he can't be chosen by summons and abilities, but again, like Edward, like, why do I care?
Exactly.
If you want to Archer this, by all means, have at it. Like, I don't care about saving this card. Maybe if another Kate Sith comes out, he won't be terrible. Like, but that Kate Sith has to be, like, extremely good.
Exactly.
For me to run 3 of this card. So.
That's funny. Because we're going to keep that train going, because my number 2 is actually Inspire. Like, why do I want to waste a copy of a card to get a card that's chances are just a one of in the deck that if you draw it, it's fine. Like, because there are some lists that run like a one of Kate Sith just because it's like, I'm going to play that, you're going to lose the game.
Yep.
But it's not like a blowout play, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's not.
And if I'm running 3 of this guy, I think I just deserve to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it won me some games in title, but the only reason I played it in title is because 7 backups are kind of garbage. They're not very good. So. Well,
and also you can get the Cat Sith that blows up like the 1-drop evokers and all that stuff.
That's the one with
important in title.
Yeah, that's the one with the S ability, the slots.
Yeah. And that just Standard, just not even playable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to move on to number 1. And I
didn't do my number 2 yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, go ahead with your number 2.
My number 2 is Quincy with the snacks too.
Ooh, Quincy coming through with the snacks. Quincy the homie, shout out.
It's just bad. Like you said, like it's so situational. Like the more you read the special, you're just like, when am I going to use this? It's
never.
It's cheap, but then like it has to be out, right? So like I guess you could like play it in S the same turn, but then you have to have like 2 Quinnas in your hand.
And then you have to have a damage forward. That's the other thing too.
And it's in water. Like that's like a lightning ability. Like it's just so weird.
Quincy ain't getting no snacks in my deck. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Quincy is not getting the snacks. Well, that's good. I guess that brings us to number 1. I have a pretty strong inclination that our number 1 is exactly the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just say, is it Celestial Stasis?
It is. And the more I think about it, I might actually like swap this and eat. And maybe Inspire is worse. But again, like this list is like, I don't know, like it's hard. It was hard to figure out like what is worse.
Because there's a lot of awful ones out there. And I think you could make a whole nother top 10 of worse abilities that are completely different from these.
Yeah, you could, for sure.
But Celestial Stasis for S, 3 ice and tap. It's on the Orin backup. Orin from Final Fantasy Tactics. Dull all the forwards your opponent controls. What?
Yeah, that's his only text on the card.
Yep.
He costs 3, so he's not like a super cheap backup. And then this is asking you to run probably 3 of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you're just playing a blank 3 CP backup. Why the hell would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that...
There's nothing to break itself either, which is unfortunate.
And then on top of that, yeah, it's basically 5 CP and tap. Like, would you play a summon that costs 5 CP that dulled all your opponent's forwards?
Nope. I'd rather just play 2 Shivas and dull 4, because that's chances are all they're going to have on the board anyway.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think it would be, like, borderline playable. But, like, yeah, like, exactly. Like, Shiva's just a better card. 2 CP dull 2 is going to win you just as many games, probably, as 5 CP dull all. You know?
I agree with that. Now, if it said, like, dull and freeze all opponents...
Oh, it'd be good. Yeah.
I think it'd be better. But, like, even still, it's a steep price for set.
Yeah, it's rough when your only text on your card is an S. Like that, it's not good. Like,
no.
I mean, if you think about like a lot of the cards that have like really good S's, usually they do something else. Also, they're not just there. Like obviously, like there are cards where you're playing them because the S is that good. But like like Vincent has that ability, right, where he doesn't get broken by things that don't do damage. And like this guy's legit only text is his S.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a common theme amongst a lot of these. Like sometimes their only text is S, and like the rest of their stuff is irrelevant. Like Reeve, the Lightning promo, this guy. Like these are what we call binder busters, man. These are when you have piles of these cards in your bulk. They just collect dust in your binder. Like you're never going to use like these cards. Like for the most part, these cards aren't even title play.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing with like we didn't mention this in the 2 videos, but like Kamari, right? The one that steals S abilities.
Yep.
If he had actual text that was good, I think people would actually like he'd be a cute play, right? But you literally can only play him to steal other people's S's. Like that's all he does. Right.
And it just seems it's just not worth the card slots. Like as more sets come out, as decks just get better, the spots get tighter, and you just don't have the space for the cute tech cards or the cute plays anymore, because more times than not you're just going to get blown up for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This one was awful to put together. Like I felt like it's just one of those things that you're looking through the sets of cards and you're like, why is this a card? Why does I get it? Like it's like those filler cards that they just have to put in to round out a set. But man,
and I mean to be fair, like they are flavorful, right? Like we said, no pun intended with Quincy, right?
Quincy the homie.
And we know the name of the thing is Quitta, by the way. Like we're calling it Quincy on purpose.
Yeah, that dates back to the Cecil Cup. If you want to go on to the Returners Twitch channel and watch that video, things get off the rails when we start talking about Quincy.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I mean, the Dragoon Pride thing, right? Like, I'll just touch on this really quick. Like, it's flavorful because when Kane jumps, like, he's gone for a turn, right?
Sure.
And that's kind of what they're going for. Escape, right? Edward's constantly, like, running away. That's the thing. K-Sith slots is supposed to be kind of random.
That it is.
Yeah, Reeve is K-Sith, so, like, searching for it makes kind of sense. From afar, that's what he does. Eat, I mean, that's, like, I already talked about that. That's pretty flavorful, too. I mean, so even the bad ones are pretty flavorful. It's just they're still bad.
Absolutely. Just not good. Not good at all. Man, oh man. So what a week, man. This has been a lot of fun. I know next week I am just amped to talk about, Worlds. Pretty much next week our podcast is going to be primarily following up on Worlds and talking about what we have seen so far.
Yeah, depending on, I'm not sure what time it ends on Sunday. We might have to record maybe late Sunday or early Monday, maybe, because I don't want to not cover Worlds. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I want the whole episode to be. Just it's just going to be all about a Worlds recap. And they do have the schedule posted for the weekend on the Final Fantasy, the Square Enix Final Fantasy card TCG page. It's got the rundown from Friday, which, just to kind of to wrap this episode up, Friday just seems like it's just kind of a for the players thing. You have your registration, you have your opening ceremony, quiz with 2 Z's and drinks. So it sounds like they're going to be playing a thumbs up 7-Up with actual 7-Up. Saturday it has the breakdown of when the doors open, the round time, start and stop times, break times. It looks like they are doing 5 rounds of Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're doing looks like top 8 cut. So, and then top 8's on Sunday, and then they do quarterfinal matches, then they take lunch break, then they do semifinals, then they do grand and petite finals, and then they do top 8 prizing and closing ceremony.
Nice. Yeah, I'll just have to convert that time to our time.
Yes, that is over in London, so it's going to be probably super early for us.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay. But I'm really excited. This week will be a nice little build up. I can't wait to see what everybody brings to the table. It's gonna be a good time.
For sure.
But other than that, man, I need to wash the taste of those terrible S abilities out of my mouth. So that's all I've got for this week.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for watching as always. Next week we will be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks
for listening.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening once again to the RVA Returners podcast. If you like this content and you want to hear more, check us out on YouTube at RVA Returners, and make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and check us out on Google Play and iTunes.